Alright, well, we have a part that came in. Our new transmission mount. And looks good. Looks like a fairly simple job to change. Let's get sneak under here and see what we got. Oh boy. Okay. Get some light in there. Yeah, it's got that big bracket that is bolted to the transmission, and the mount is bolted to that. But looking at it, that stupid bracket is also an exhaust hanger, because of course it is. That probably explains why this thing gets so damn hot. This idiotic third cat, which is not required because it's not monitored, it's just there to cause trouble and make you care like you're in California. So I'm gonna see what we can do. I may end up popping this whole skid plate down. I think that might make it a little easier to get at everything. But first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get a jack up underneath the transmission, support it, and see what we got. Okay, that did make it pretty simple. I think that thing attached to the skid plate is the air pump, and I don't know that that's working. That's something that we're going to test. But that looks like that can come off without having to drop the skid plate. Very nice. I'm going to have to take some measurements of these pipes, see what we got here, and see what we can do about going to Mexico and having that little bugger fall off, get some of the heat away from this transmission, because she gets hot, real hot. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Oh goody, those are pressed in studs. Yay. Yes, we'll hose them down with some Panther pee, as Erico might say. Bust those nuts off and slap the new one in. This one wasn't too bad, but I mean, it does allow the transmission to move around quite a bit. The whole thing bounces and flops, so we're going to just stiffen all that up, put it so that it does more about transmitting to the drive shaft. Transmitting power to the drive shaft rather than transmitting power to the motor mounts, which is what this thing does currently. Alright, so I'll get my spritz, give that a spray. Looks like those might be 9/16. This thing's a mishmash. These were 1/2 inch. The skid plate was 18. It's just all over the place. But alright, let's go see what we got. Alright, she looks pretty good. This one really wasn't bad, but since we're going through it and doing everything, we might as well, since we're in here. We'll never do it again. And this is definitely a little stiffer than the other one. A lot more rubber in there, rather than that, which is intended to flop around. So, some nice new nuts and bolts for the bottom, or nuts and washers. So now we're going to slap those on, and for reference, those are 15s. Alright, well, that was super simple. Here she is. All on like it's supposed to. And that's even, I mean, if you don't have the Rubicon, you probably still have the skid plate. You just don't have the pump to worry about. And yeah, that's a super simple change. Not bad at all. So, cool. That's one piece of that done. Now, we'll wait for the motor mounts. And that is why I don't wear a shirt, because it's kind of humid. That's just for me. Yuck. Alright, well, we're back from our vacations, and it's time to get this thing back to driving it, because I don't have the Lexus anymore. It has made it perfectly to California, and it is at its new home. So, we've got the transmission mount we did last time. And now I've got my new piece that's going to go here-ish, I think. And then I've got my new Daystar urethane mounts. Those went together pretty easy. And these are not terrible. The mounts down there are not horrible. But they're not in the best of shape. Yeah, there's a fair bit of play in the around the rubber, so it could certainly move. It's not being restrained as well as it should be. It's already got spacers in it, so I didn't get the 1-inch spacer mounts. I just got the standard mounts, so I'll keep the spacers since they're not cheap. Looks like we got a bolt here and a nut on the other side and a big through bolt here. So we're gonna put the jack under the motor and try to pop these off. Alright, so we've got the motor mount to the spacer. Had to modify it a little bit because the stud that comes with the motor mount, or with the spacer, did not want to thread on all the way, so I just shortened up the threads on the mount. Got that on there. And now she's good to go back in. So, not much to that. Perfect. Alright, so that one's in. All the bolts are loose, but she is attached. Took a little bit of prying and fiddling, but really not too bad to get this back bolt in. Had to kind of pry the engine to the driver's side a little bit to line the bolt hole up, but after that, not a big deal. Everything went right together like it should. So now we're going to attack the other side, which I believe is the same and possibly has a little better access, as you can come around underneath the brake booster to get to some of it. So that's what we're going to try to do next. It's some 17s, a 15, and yeah, some 15s and 17s is basically what you need to take it apart. Really not too bad. Alright, we got the fastener bolts off for the mount, but looks like whoever did these spacers decided to put the bolt in backwards somehow. They must have pulled the entire bracket off the engine? I don't know, but that bolt is not coming out because of what looks to be air conditioners, the air conditioner compressor. So I guess we're going to pull that whole bracket off and flip that around properly so that it can be disassembled if I ever have to do this again. Yeah. Anyway, onward. Alright, so this one was not effectively tight. As you can see, that stud doesn't go all the way flush in with the spacer, so they had a similar issue where it didn't go on all the way. So we'll make sure to correct that with the new ones. And yeah, we got it out. So off we go. Alright, and that's what it's supposed to look like. So now we are going to put it back in. Alright, after a little bit of a fight, we got this side's cobbled because I cross-threaded one of the bolts, so I had to get creative, so don't look at that. But yeah, it's in. It ain't going anywhere. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to make sure that the engine was in its final resting place for where I need to put that thing. Because when you lift the engine up like that, and then there's a body lift on this thing too, it changes the position of the shifter relative to that boot. So I want to put it in there where when it's in neutral, it's in kind of a neutral position in there. I may have to re-drill some of the holes, some of the mounting holes and stuff, and make sure that's going to get set properly so it doesn't fail and doesn't restrict the shifter from moving. So once I take a break, that's going to be next. Alright, back inside. Everything looks pretty good. What you got to do first to get that piece on is get this big old torque screw off of here and get this shifter off. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Let's see, that looks like maybe a T50 or something like that. So we're going to go see what we got and try to get that done. Yeah, that's all that took. So now let's see what we got. Yep, looks like I got to pull the transfer case shifter bracket out because this goes under it. So let's go figure that out first. Alright. Well, that's about where it's supposed to be. Feels good. Looks pretty good. So now I guess we'll put the screws in around that and put this back on and see what we've got next. Alrighty, so that's all bolted back in. Now, we gotta put this thing on somehow. There it goes. Get that tightened up. Put this boot back over that, and then we can see how the rest of the console is going to fit. Alright, well, there it is. Had to trim the outer panel a little bit, and then I also had to trim the metal on the inside of the actual boot itself because it was hitting. Now it's not. Alright, I think we're in good shape. So, okay. That's all that. The new motor mount's in, got the new transmission mount in. Damn it, I turned on the front light again. And the back. There we go. Yep, alright. So, yep. Alright. One of the other things I want to do is probably insulate the cold side AC lines a little bit. We'll get to that. Try to make that as efficient as possible since it's just crossing right over this boiling hot engine. And again, we got the motor mounts all done. They look good. So, I guess it's time to go wipe off and take this little beast for a road trip. See how it does. I think it's going to be good. So, there we go. Back in a few. Alright, well, we just put about 30 miles on it. Put some gas in it. Because it ain't got no gas in it. But drove great. I like the new engine and trans mounts. The transmission doesn't flop around anywhere near as much as it used to. So that means the engine's not moving around as much as it used to. So shifts fine, shifts into all the gears. Everything's good. So, alright, that's today's video. And we're going to be back because now I still think it's a little lazy. And we're going to start going through the fuel system, ignition system, and all of that happy stuff to get it as good as possible. Because I'm betting we're a little bit low on fuel pressure possibly. But we're going to find out. Anyway, hope you're all having a good day. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.